I originally auditioned for a different character.
For Prince?
Yeah, for Prince Ben.
No way.
And originally auditioned to play Prince Ben.
That's so cool.
And then I was brought back in to play Jay. And I went into the audition rooms countless times over a period of months. And then at one point I met up with Sofia.
Oh, my turn?
And yeah.
So I also auditioned for a different role at first. And I remember when I got the audition, it was a secretly titled movie. They weren't revealing the title.
Yeah,
it was Off the
else.
Island, is what it was called. And I was auditioning for a role that was titled Gigi.
Oh, really?
And she played the girlfriend of the prince at this school of, like, you know, good kids where outcasts were coming in. And I went and I read for her and I got a call back. And then when I got the call back, I walked into the Disney Channel offices and Kenny Ortega was in the room. And they hadn't told me because it was very top secret that Kenny was directing or that it was a musical. So I walked in, I read for the role, and then Kenny asked me to sing for him. So I sang for him and I danced for him. And then afterwards, I didn't get the role. And about 2 months later, I kept auditioning for other things. And I had never really shot a movie before. So I was still learning, really. And I auditioned for a role on Dove Cameron's show, Liv and Maddie. It was a guest starring role to play a pop star. And I got the call back for that. And then they called me after that callback saying, we don't want you for that role, but we want you to come back and read for a movie that we're shooting. And it's a top secret script, so we need you to come in to read the script. So I went back into the offices, read the script. I was told that I was going to read for Evie. And I went in, I met Kenny again, I read for Evie, I performed for them. Then I think the next day or 2 days later, they had me come back in to meet Booboo and Dove, and we did chemistry reads together.
That's right. Yeah.
And then 2 days later, I got the part.
We have already sort of been established in the Disney family at that point for years.
Yeah.
So we were very familiar with the people casting us and the building we were auditioning in and all sorts of stuff. So we had already had sort of relationships there. I think both of us, when we auditioned, they pretty quickly knew that we were going to be the person cast, which was very amazing. Yeah, I think that's a testament to how well we fit the characters, but also just that they knew us and that they were excited to work with us again and more. So that was awesome for us, obviously, to have those relationships. But I also think that we were probably the right ones for the role as well.
Yeah,
so,
completely.
Yeah.
I was doing Liv and Maddie at the time, and I was in season 1 of Liv and Maddie, which is crazy.
I was in season 3 of Jessie. Just finishing season 3.
So I was in season 1 of Liv and Maddie, and we were almost done filming it, and they called me, and I was on the freeway, and I was driving home, and they said, hey, can you come to the Disney Channel offices? And I was like, why? And they were like, we can't tell you, which was terrifying. I was like, I'm going to lose my job.
I'm getting fired.
Yeah, I'm getting fired for sure. And I came to the office, and they put a script down in front of me, and it was called Off the Island, and they said, just read the script and tell us what you think. The script can't leave the building. And I said, okay, that's really also terrifying.
Yeah.
And I read the whole script, and then I was like, I want to audition for this character, who at the time was named Claudia.
That's so interesting to me.
And then they said, well, okay, maybe we'll keep you posted. And I was like, wait, what? Why would you have me read it if you weren't going to let me audition? And so I had to wait forever to have them call me in to audition. But I got the role really early on. Like, I got the role, I think, a couple months before they started casting anybody else, which then meant that I went to all of the original sort of product launching things, and I would go off on these weird marketing things before we cast the rest of it, to speak basically to Disney Corporation and to show, like, this is what the castle's gonna look like, and this is what we're thinking for the costumes, and so I felt very lucky, and also I knew what I was getting myself into, because I didn't at first when I got the role, and then it was like I started to go on these weird tour things with Kenny with all these presentations, and I was like, wow, this is gonna be massive. Like, this is gonna be something really cool to be a part of, and I find that to be really lucky.
That's interesting that because my experience was similar to that, but probably a year after that she had booked hers, because they wouldn't email the script, they wouldn't let it leave the building. But same thing. I got this script put down in front of me, and I read the whole thing, and I was
You were like, wow.
very excited about it right then and there. So that was interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Diese hochnäsige kleine Hexe. Sie hat sich gegriffen, was sie wollte, und mir hat sie nichts gelassen. Das ist was zwischen Oma und mir.
Wir sind wie eine Familie. Wir haben viel zusammen durchgestanden.
Schaffen Sie es gemeinsam, Ihre Heimat von der Piratenbraut zu befreien?
Ach ja, und wir dürfen das nicht vermasseln, weil wir durch
Und durch Böse sind.
I was more influenced by the princesses. Naturally. I feel like as a girl we gravitated more towards that.
You didn't like the villains?
I didn't like the villains, no. I always liked like Princess Belle from Beauty and the Beast, but I think the ones that most impacted me were probably the Evil Queen and Ursula were the ones.
Ooh, I don't know. Okay, I guess disliking the villain is a good thing because that means the movie did a good job.
Yeah.
But in A Bug's Life, the villain...
You like the villain in Bug's Life?
No, I don't.
He's so mean.
Exactly. But I think he's really good because he's so mean.
He is very good, you're right.
So maybe the one in A Bug's Life, Kevin Spacey voices the... I forget what kind of bug they are.
Is he a grasshopper?
Grasshoppers,
Grasshopper.
yes.
I think Mulan for me, because even though it was sort of about female empowerment, it was also, I mean, anybody can relate to it, first of all, including, females specifically, but yeah, as a young boy, I just thought that it was amazing. All right. I just thought that it was really, really cool that she just completely sacrificed everything for her family and for her father. And that's just the most selfless thing that she could have done. And I really took that message from Mulan to heart.
I'm sorry, that was so darling. Sweet boy. Yeah, I guess I would say, honestly, Maleficent, just because, or Scar, honestly, because both of them are very feline-like, very sort of like narrow eyes, like they have sort of like the 10-mile-long stare, that withering look that like if you receive from someone, you're just like, what did I possibly do to you? Like it's that sort of like, Mal has that sort of like, I'm sizing you up and there's nothing you can do about it, and it almost paralyzes you. Because she's so manipulative and she's so intelligent and so cunning that if you're on the wrong side of that, that's like really bad news.
I'm just glad that I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. And especially in the first movie, like the scene between Jane and Mal, when Mal is moving in, right? When in the bathroom. I always kind of imagined that like Mal had sized up, because Jane walks past her in the classroom and she looks at her like she's got her prey, It's like this massive lion that's gonna kill something,
and without saying anything to each other, Jane is just petrified.
Exactly. and so it's like that whole conversation, although she's saying sweet things, she's like, wow, I always loved that name, Jane. It's definitely like she's saying like, watch out, you're in danger, I'm gonna kill you. And so I would say Maleficent and Scar were probably my biggest influences.
In real life.
In real life too, yeah.